Fredrin, Pasha, suddenly popping up everywhere in MPL, MSC, and even rank. It's wild, and honestly, they're annoying as hell. I mean sure, they have low damage, but they never die and are constantly messing up the backline like they don't have anything else to do. Just look at the MSC finals yesterday. That Pasha was like a cockroach. You think he's gonna stay there? Nope, he flies at you out of nowhere, without any apparent reason. And of course, this means the age-old debate is back. Damage junglers mains be like, "It's 2025 bro, and you're still using a tank jungler? What are you, slowing?" Meanwhile, tank junglers fire back. "Wow, 15 kills but still lost. All you do is steal kills and I hit them back like a pussy." And these two species keep mating forever, never at peace, and I don't know why. And as usual, the busy unemployed people come out to argue on why their favorite team got lost to a tank jungler. So why the hell can tank jungler return to the meta again? There's only one explanation. Don Toliver. Now for real though, one of the components that brings this sleepy ass meta back just like the old days is the damage XP laners getting buffed. A ton of buffs. The epic hero, the bald one, sperm, and a bunch of them that I won't read. Now XP laners don't always have to be tanky like before when everyone was just playing stone heroes. Well, not anymore. I mean, sure, sometimes you still need tanky XP laners when the situation needs it. But the difference now is the jungler is sleepy, the roamer is sleepy, the audience is also sleepy, but the XP laner isn't. That's what I mean when I say the sleepy smell is strong for junglers right now. It's like back when Blacklist won the M Series trophy where the one who shine is the XP laner, not the jungler. So when should you pick tank jungler or damage jungler? First, check your team comp. If you know how to draft properly, you'll know you can't have too much damage, but you also can't have too much sustain. Why? Because if you've got too much damage, you'll eventually realize once the game begins, like, who the hell's gonna waste the enemy skills? No one, right? Yeah, sure, I mean your team probably has crazy damage and will win the early game 90% of the time. But once your enemy has defensive items and your damage isn't as painful as the early game, they'll come back easily because in your team, there's no one who can survive and force out enemy skills, so you'll just die first before your enemy can even use their combo skills. Like here, look. My team looked like it was winning, right? But since we had no one to sustain, while the enemy had tanky XP and tank roamer, half of our skills got wasted on the tanky one because if we didn't hit him, he'll just gonna annoy us forever and we won't be able to move. And because of that, stupidity happened. On the other hand, if you've got too much sustain, then who the hell is dealing damage? I mean, no matter how thick your HP is, if you keep eating damage without killing the enemy first, eventually you'll die anyway, especially if the enemy has heroes that deal damage scaling with HP like these guys. And besides checking your team comp, you also have to look at your team's hero types. Also count the enemies. Like, are your team's heroes mostly divers or cover types? Usually if the jungler is damage, the comp look like this. Jungler damage, roamer plus XP laner are tanky, then high ground mage, and the gold laner who have a power spike at level 4. That's the most common draft you'll see whether in rank or pro play. And if the jungler is tank, the team usually runs support roamer, XP laner damage, utility mid laner, and gold laner high ground. The XP laner can even still be a tank if the team is using a group up strategy since they'll go teamfighting non-stop. Like here, in my team we had a healer support, a stick to target hero, and 2 range ones. So it's clear we had no one who could tank and we're gonna play group up because these guys have large skill area, right? I mean Angela isn't gonna tank for the team and Volvius can't sustain for too long either. So instead of losing sustain in teamfights and waste the draft's potential, I just pick a jungler that can also sustain. And also you could see my enemy had Kufra plus Fredrin. That combo alone counters a lot of damage junglers. I mean sure you could still pick Fanny or Ling in the situation to target those two. But if my early game wasn't smooth and I get invaded all the time, I'd be useless. Especially in objective fights like in this game right here, where I get invaded all the time since the first minute. And once the objective spawns, I can't even enter the area because I got zoned out easily. And if I pick a damage jungler here in every team fight, these guys would just get picked on because no one could eat the damage and cover for them if we don't have a tank. And they are also the type of heroes that need to stand still to deal damage too. And as a result, since we had a balanced comp to sustain 2 damage and 1 support, my damage dealers got free hits because my enemies are too focused on me instead of them. And if your team has a lot of cover heroes but no backline divers, then that's when a damage jungler fits because the cover is already there, the frontliner is already there, but no one can reach the backline, like in this draft right here. So I just pick Fanny because not only can she mess up the enemy backline, but also split push if my enemy likes team fighting too much. I mean here, my enemy had too many team fighting heroes who were all walk-in, and their high ground is kinda trash. And if you remember this vicious cycle, it says that the split push strat counters the group up strategy because the team who uses the group up strat will always move in 5 and leaving the lanes open. So yeah, that's roughly the situation whether you can pick tank jungler or damage jungler. The rule of thumb is if your team already has to sustain heroes, you can pick damage. But if your team don't have enough sustain, add it with a tank jungler as a sort of plan B, because sometimes even with a layer of condom it's not enough, so you need plan B. And these two species both have their pros and cons countering each other, because 1. Their playstyles are complete opposites. Most damage junglers like Ling, Lancelot, Fanny, even fighters like Alpha, Martis, and Leomord have high early game burst and mobility, letting them punish slow clearing tank junglers before they can even have an impact. But if they keep failing ganks or are late on getting items, what can they do against those rock solid tanks? I mean, it's already hard to kill tank junglers if the game already reaches the mid phase if they know what they're doing. And when it's hard to secure kills when you're using a damage jungler, you for sure gonna hate that game. I mean, your HP is paper thin, you get stunned easily, you also get toyed by those fat bastards. And if your early game is already bad like that, damage junglers will be just like you, unwanted. Like, tank junglers might look useless, they get low kills and all, but they can still waste enemy skills, tank for the team, and do some zoning here and there. Meanwhile, if a damage jungler screws up early on, that's it, the rest of the game is doomed. They get picked off once, dead. Take a little poke, already half HP. It's rough. So like it or not, in the current meta, damage junglers either have to play aggressively to get items as fast as possible or go semi-tank builds. That's why a lot of damage junglers users like Fanny, Lancelot, or Maris uses builds like this, so it's easier to dive in and they don't instantly die when they took a wrong move. Those guys are different unlike tank junglers who are already fed from the start. You see, if they survive the early game without feeding, tank junglers outscale in durability and utility, making damage junglers useless in teamfights. And usually, these damage junglers start falling off past the 12 minutes mark when the Lord Dance usually begins, because they're super easy to zone out or bait at that point. I mean, come on, who wouldn't get thirsty seeing a girl in thin clothes walking alone in the dark alley? That's exactly why damage junglers always died at crucial times. Yeah, I know tank junglers farm super slow early on, but once they got their power spike, they can invade easier than most damage jungler. Once tank junglers hit level 4 or pick up one of their situational core items, that's when the real suffering starts for enemy junglers, because let's be real, tank junglers are specialists at making damage junglers absolutely hate their lives. Because just like I said earlier, if a damage jungler falls behind on items, they basically become useless. Meanwhile you, as a tank jungler, with literally just boots, it's already a pain to kill. And once you get 1 or 2 core items, even if an entire neighborhood jumps on you, you're not gonna die. Even if you die, you're just gonna waste a ton of their time because you're really that hard to kill. On the other hand, damage junglers trade all those fat for mobility and killing power. Most of them may not be able to invade in the early game, but their map pressure is insane. I mean, they can fly across the map with ease, and combine it with their strong early game damage, pulling off ganks or stealing jungles becomes way easier. That's why when you're playing against them, you'll always feel like you're getting harassed non-stop because they're everywhere at once. And even if they're the ones who constantly getting invaded by a tank jungler, good assassins can still adapt if they're smart enough. Because of their jungle clearing speed and their mobility, they can sneak into enemy jungle, grab a buff or more, and get out before the tank jungler even realizes they're gone. I mean, a tank needs 3 business days to clear a buff while invading, especially when he's alone, and he probably thinks his jungle are safe. Meanwhile, Ling is already taking all his jungle on the other side of the map. So it's a mutual counter, not one-sided. Tank junglers are great at making enemy junglers mad, while damage junglers are great at making the laners mad. Simple as that. And I know a lot of you are gonna think that one of them are stronger right now. But if we dig a bit deeper, we can see that they actually an equal match unlike back then when the spinach emblem still exists. And on top of that, these two species also counters each other in terms of objective contest strength. Tank junglers definitely have the upper hand here, no question. Their sustain and CC lets them sit inside the Lord or Turtle pit for basically forever, and to make it worse, they won't move if they got a healer backing them up. They can literally body block a damage jungler from even sniffing the area. That's why you almost always see a little Lord dance first when there's a tank jungler. You know, the one where everyone's circling around, poking, pretending to start, then resetting, baiting retribution cooldown, skill cooldown, wasting time until don't know how long. Sometimes, it feels like you're not even playing Mobile Legends anymore, because this can literally happen for 20 fucking minutes, god damn. And here's the thing, if your team actually pulls off a clean lore dance like me, getting the objective becomes way easier because all you need to do is just... Sorry, my retry is on cooldown. But don't get it wrong, damage junglers aren't useless here. Their counter is simple but deadly. They can either sneak in when you're too busy dancing, or just burn it down faster than tanks could ever dreamed of. Hyperactive assassins like Ling or Fanny don't even have to fully commit. They can just dash in, steal the lord down with retribution plus skill combo, and dash out like nothing happened. And if you do that cleanly, congratulations, your enemy jungler just did a whole performance in the lord pit for absolutely nothing. So yeah, these two have their way of contesting. Tanks win with endurance and zoning power, while damage junglers win with speed and surprise. One plays like a wall, the other like a hitman. So with all that being said, y'all need to stop using attack speed saber.